Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina said the historic six-point demand was the Magna Carta for the Bengali nation, which ultimately brought independence of the country. The Premier was addressing a discussion this afternoon arranged by Bangladesh Awami League at its office in the city Stajgaon, marking the historic six-point day. Drawing a comparison of deprivation between the then East Pakistan and West Pakistan, she said, it is father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who had strongly protested the long-lasting deprivation. Everything, whatever had been needed to remove that deprivation, Bangabandhu reflected in this six-point demand, she said. Sheikh Hasina, also the eldest daughter of Bangabandhu, highlighted how the father of the nation carried out campaigns through every corner of the country to make the six-point demand popular among the people.
এই যে দীর্ঘদিনের যে বঞ্চনা, এই বঞ্চনার বিরুদ্ধে প্রতিবাদ কিন্তু জাতির পিতা বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিব করেছিলেন। আমাদের দেশের সবচেয়ে দুর্ভাগ্য হলো যে আমাদের কিছু কিছু নামি দামি হোমলাচমরা নেতারা ছিলেন, তারা কখনো এই বঞ্চনার কথা বলতো না। তারা শুধু তাদের কিভাবে ক্ষমতায় থাকবে আর ক্ষমতায় যাবে ওই তেল মারতেই ব্যস্ত থাকতো। ৬ দফা দাবি যখন তিনি পেশ করতে গেলেন তখন তাকে বাধা দেওয়া হলো, এটা দিতে দেওয়া হলো না। তখন তিনি ওখানে বসেই প্রেস কনফারেন্সে বললেন, সেটা প্রচার করে দিলেন। তখন তাকে হত্যারও প্রচেষ্টা করা হয়েছিল। তিনি ঢাকা বাংলাদেশে এসে এয়ারপোর্টে প্রথম আবার এটা প্রচার করে পরবর্তীতে ৬ দফা ব্যাপকভাবে প্রচার শুরু করলেন। প্রত্যেকটা জিনিস বৈষম্যটাকে দূর করার জন্য যা যা সবই এই ৬ দফায় তিনি তুলে ধরেছিলেন। এই বাজেটে এবার কতগুলি মৌলিক চাহিদা, মানুষের মৌলিক যে অধিকার সেটাকে নিশ্চিত করার জন্য, যেমন শিক্ষা, স্বাস্থ্য, কৃষি, তারপরে দেশীয় শিল্প, সেগুলিকে এবং সামাজিক নিরাপত্তা, এইগুলিকে সব থেকে বেশি প্রাধান্য দেওয়া হয়েছে, যা মানুষের জীবনটাকে উন্নত করবে। মানুষের যে প্রয়োজন সেটা আমরা মেটাতে চাই, সেদিকে লক্ষ্য রেখেই কিন্তু আমরা বাজেট সেইভাবে আমরা করেছি। আমরা আমাদের এবার বাজেটটা অত্যন্ত পরিকল্পিতভাবে দিয়েছি। বিশ্ব পরিস্থিতি মাথায় রেখেই কিন্তু আমাদেরকে পরিকল্পনা নিয়ে চলতে হবে। কাজে আমাদের দেশে যারা ওই যে কিছু ভালো লাগে না গ্রুপ আছে, তাদের ভালো না লাগাই থাক, ওগুলি কান দেওয়ার দরকার নাই। তা আমাদের তো ওই তেল মারা গোষ্ঠীর দরকার নাই। আমাদের শক্তি জনগণ, জনগণ আমাদের ভোট দেয়, জনগণের জন্য কাজ করি, জনগণের কল্যাণ করি। আওয়ামী লীগের একমাত্র শক্তি হচ্ছে জনগণ। অনেক জায়গায় অনেক খেলা খেলতে চেষ্টা করেছে, কিন্তু জনগণই আমাদের উপর আস্থা রেখেছে, বিশ্বাস রেখেছে। তাদের ভোটেই আমরা জয়ী হয়ে ক্ষমতা আছি বলেই আজকের বাংলাদেশ বিশ্বে বাঙালি জাতি সম্মান নিয়ে চলতে পারে। মানুষের পাশে দাঁড়াবো, মানুষের জন্য কাজ করব। মানুষের আস্থা, বিশ্বাস, এটাই হচ্ছে আমাদের একমাত্র শক্তি। আর সেই শক্তি দিয়ে মানুষের কল্যাণেই আমরা কাজ করে যাব।
Presidium members Sheikh Fazlul Karim Salim, Shahjahan Khan, Advocate Kamrul Islam and Dr. Mustafa Jalal Mohiuddin, Liberation War Affairs Secretary Advocate Mrinal Kanti Das, Science and Technology Affairs Secretary Engineer Muhammad Abdul Sabur, Central Working Committee Member Advocate Sanjida Khanam, Dhaka South Awami League General Secretary Humayun Kabir, Dhaka North General Secretary A.S.M. Mannan Kochi, Dhaka District Awami League General Secretary Punirujjaman Tarun, among others, also spoke. Awami League Publicity and Publication Secretary Dr. Abdul Subhan Gulab and his deputy Syed Abdul Awal Shamim conducted the discussion meeting. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has paid rich tributes to father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, by placing a wreath at his portrait in front of Bangabandhu Memorial Museum at Dhanmondi in Dhaka on the occasion of the historic six-point day. After laying the wreath, the Prime Minister stood in solemn silence for some time as a mark of profound respect to the memory of Bangabandhu, the architect of independence. Flanked by senior Awami League leaders, Sheikh Hasina placed another wreath at Bangabandhu's portrait as the party chief. Prime Minister and Awami League President Sheikh Hasina said containing inflation is a big challenge for the government. She said this while giving an introductory speech in a meeting of the Awami League Advisory Council at Ganobhavan this evening. The Prime Minister said the inflation was 12.3% when her party assumed power in 2009 with reserve less than $1 billion. She continued they had been able to take the country's economy in a big position after facing the challenge.
একটা বড় চ্যালেঞ্জ এই ইনফ্লেশনটা কিভাবে আমরা নিয়ন্ত্রণে আনবো, কারণ আমার মনে আছে আমি 2009 সালে যখন সরকার গঠন করি তখন মুদ্রাস্ফীতি ছিল 12.3%, 12%-এর উপরই ছিল। রিজার্ভ 1 বিলিয়নও ছিল না, এটা হলো বাস্তব কথা। সেখান থেকে আমরা অর্থনীতিকে অনেক উপরে তুলতে পেরেছি। তখন বাজেট দিয়েছিল মাত্র ৬৮,০০০ কোটি টাকা, এখন আমরা অন্তত ৭,১৭,০০০ কোটি টাকার বাজেট আমরা দিতে পেরেছি। এটা হচ্ছে সবথেকে বড় কথা। তবে সেটা আমরা অনেক হিসাব নিকাশ করে অনেক হয়তো যদি একটা সুস্থ পরিবেশ থাকে আমরা আরও ভালো দিতাম। তো এটাকে বাস্তবায়ন করা, এখন মূল্যস্ফীতিটা আমাদের রাষ্ট্রটা টেনে ধরতে হবে।
Finance Minister Abul Hassan Mahmood Ali said the proposed budget for upcoming 2024 to 2025 fiscal year has been prepared to control the inflation. He said this while addressing a post-budget press conference at Usmani Memorial Auditorium in Dhaka today. Mentioning building sustainable smart Bangladesh by 2041 as the main theme of the upcoming budget, the finance minister said the proposed budget emphasized over researches of various sectors including blue economy and climate change. He said the proposed budget will reflect the continuation of development of the present government even amid the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. Prime Minister's Economic Affairs Advisor Dr. Mashir Rahman, Industries Minister Nurul Majid Mahmood Humayun, Planning Minister Retired Major General Abdul Salam, Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives Minister Tajul Islam, Housing and Public Works Minister RAM Ubaidul Muqtadir Chowdhury, Agriculture Minister Professor Abdus Shahid, Education Minister Muhibul Hassan Chowdhury, State Minister for Commerce Ahsanul Islam Titu and State Minister for Finance Waseka Ayesha Khan were also present among others at the press briefing. Replying to a query from journalists, Prime Minister's Economic Affairs Advisor Dr. Mashir Rahman said the government is vigilant so that GDP growth and overall indicators of economy in the country keep dynamic. Replying to journalists about the measures to control price hike of essential commodities in the proposed budget, State Minister for Commerce Ahsanul Islam Titu said the government is planning to increase the sale of essential commodities with fair prices considering the lower income people. Eid al-Azha will be celebrated all over Bangladesh on 17th of June. National Moon Sighting Committee has fixed the date as moon of the Jilhaj month of Hijri calendar was sighted over Bangladesh sky. National Moon Sighting Committee informed this during a meeting at Baitul Mukarram National Mosque in Dhaka this evening. Religious Affairs Minister Muhammad Faridul Haq Khan chaired the meeting. Religion Affairs Secretary Muhammad Abdul Hamid Jamaddar and Director General of Islamic Foundation Dr. Muhammad Bashirul Alam were present among others at the meeting. Meanwhile, after placing a wreath at the portrait of Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Awami League General Secretary Ubaidul Qadir emphasized the pivotal role of the six-point movement in our liberation struggle, calling it a turning point in our history. He also condemned those responsible for the heinous assassination of Bangabandhu, linking them to the same forces that sought to suppress the iconic 7th March and 7th June events.
আমাদের ইতিহাসে বাঁক পরিবর্তনকারী, it was a turning point in our history. স্বাধিকার সংগ্রামের চূড়ান্ত পর্যায়ে এই দিবসটি 7ই মার্চ, এইসব দিবস 75-এর পর নিষিদ্ধ হয়ে যায়। যারা নিষিদ্ধ করে দেয় তারা খুনের সঙ্গে ৭৫-এর তারা জড়িত। তারা বঙ্গবন্ধুকে হত্যা করেনি, তারা হত্যা করতে চেয়েছিল আমাদের মুক্তিযুদ্ধের মূল্যবোধকে, আমাদের স্বাধীনতার আদর্শকে। সেই জন্য বঙ্গবন্ধুর সঙ্গে জয় বাংলা নির্বাসনে, ৭ই মার্চ নির্বাসনে এবং ৭ই জুনও নির্বাসিত হয়ে যায়।
Foreign Minister and Awami League Joint General Secretary Dr. Hassan Mahmood said BNP leaders, including Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, who formed the party to enjoy only the facilities of ruling party, cannot tolerate to be out of the state power for so long. He made the comments while addressing a discussion in Chattogram Theatre Institute this morning. Chattogram City Awami League organized a discussion on the occasion of 6.A. Mentioning the 6-point movement, the foreign minister said the 6-point is a unique milestone of the liberation war and the history of Bangladesh's liberty. He said father of the nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman highlighted the Bengalis' demands for political and economic freedom through 6-point.
বিএনপি জামাত বলতে শুরু করেছে যে এই বাজেট জনগণের কোনো কল্যাণে আসবে না। আরে জনগণের কল্যাণে যদি না আসে তাহলে দারিদ্রতা 40% থেকে নেমে 18.7% কেমনে আসলো? অতি দারিদ্রতা 22% ছিল, সেখান থেকে নেমে 5.7% নেমে এসেছে। এটি তো এই বাজেট বাস্তবায়নের কারণেই সম্ভবপর হয়েছে, অন্যথায় তো এটি সম্ভবপর হতো না। সুতরাং এরা আসলে চোখ থাকতেও অন্ধ, কান থাকতেও বধির।
President of Chattogram City Awami League Mahatabuddin Chowdhury and General Secretary A.J.M. Nasiruddin also addressed the meeting. Now, international news. Narendra Modi, leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party BJP, is set to take oath as the Prime Minister of India on Sunday. On Tuesday, a BJP-led coalition, the National Democratic Alliance (NDA), won the general election with 293 seats. The results were unexpected as the BJP did not win an outright majority as several exit polls had predicted. This led to a couple of days of uncertainty over whether alliance partners would back Narendra Modi and the BJP or negotiate with an opposition bloc to try and form the government. But on Friday, NDA leaders unanimously backed Narendra Modi as the leader of the coalition and their ministerial candidate. At the meeting in capital Delhi, Narendra Modi thanked his allies and said that the NDA would make every effort to govern the country well and take it forward. The BJP won 240 seats in the election, several seats short of the 272 required to get a majority in India's 543-member parliament. However, two key BJP allies, the Telugu Desam Party and the Janata Dal, won 16 and 12 seats each in their respective states, pushing the NDA comfortably over the halfway mark. Friday's announcement by the BJP has put that speculation to rest. In the coming days, the coalition will announce the names of ministers and assign key portfolios. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will leave Dhaka for New Delhi on tomorrow to attend the swearing-in ceremony of Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of India for a third consecutive term. Prime Minister's speechwriter M. Nazrul Islam said the Prime Minister will leave Dhaka for New Delhi at 11 a.m. tomorrow and will return home on 10th of June after attending swearing-in ceremony of Narendra Modi. Earlier on Wednesday, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited his Bangladeshi counterpart to attend the swearing-in ceremony of his government during a conversation over telephone. Israeli airstrikes on a UN-operated school sheltering displaced Palestinians in central Gaza killed at least 35 people. Israel's army says Hamas fighters were also in the shelter. Meanwhile, the UN's Human Rights Office has said that the Israeli military's failure to ensure distinction, proportionality and precaution in its attacks that have killed Palestinian civilians would amount to violations of international humanitarian law. Responding after an Israeli airstrike killed at least 35 people at a UN-run school in the Nusayrat refugee camp in central Gaza, the UN Rights Office said that Israel's claim that Palestinian fighters were using the school does not justify such an attack. Meanwhile, Egyptian and Qatari mediators reportedly say they expect Hamas will submit response to the latest ceasefire proposal as pressure continues to mount to get a deal done. Doctors Without Borders (MSF) says al-Aqsa hospital in Deir al-Balah is a sinking ship overwhelmed with wounded and dead after days of unrelenting strikes by Israeli forces on central Gaza. At least 36,654 people have been killed and 83,309 wounded in Israel's war on Gaza since October 7. The proposed budget for 2024 to 2025 fiscal year is time-worthy and pro-people in context of global economic perspective, said economists. This budget will help ease macroeconomic problems, they added. Economists also said reformation in the entire tax arrangements, including direct and indirect tax, will play roles in easing the pressure of inflation and living cost. The proposed budget put emphasis on the ICT sector as well as agriculture, education and health sectors. However, they stressed the need for special importance on implementation of the budget. News on weather. Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said light to moderate rain or thunder showers accompanied by temporary gusty wind is likely to occur at most places over Sylhet division, at many places over Rangpur, Dhaka, Mymensingh and Chattogram divisions, and at 1 or 2 places over Rajshahi, Khulna and Borishal divisions. Besides, moderately heavy to heavy falls are likely to occur at places over Dhaka, Mymensingh, Chattogram and Sylhet divisions. Day temperature may fall slightly over Rangpur, Mymensingh and Sylhet divisions, and it may rise slightly elsewhere over the country. Night temperature may rise slightly over the country, said the Met Office. News on sports. Bangladesh will join T20 Cricket World Cup battle tomorrow morning through facing Sri Lanka in the first match at Grand Prairie Stadium in Dallas in the USA. The match will start at 6:30 a.m. Bangladesh Standard Time. Bangladesh captain Nazmul Hussain Shanta hopes to turn around in the World Cup despite being in poor performance in recent times. Bangladesh Answer VDP has become champion in the 35th National Women's Handball Competition 2024. Bangladesh Answer and VDP defeated Bangladesh Police Handball Club by 33-24 goals in the final at Shohid Captain M. Mansur Ali National Handball Stadium in the capital. At the end of the competition, sports organizer Mohammad Firoz Hussain distributed prizes among the winners. Bangladesh Handball Federation President AKM Nurul Fazal Bulbul presided over the function, while General Secretary of the Federation Asaduzzaman Kohinoor and Answer VDP's Director of Sports and Culture Dewan Matlubur Rahman, among others, were present. To end the bulletin, headlines once again. Country moving forward with the ideals and spirit of father of the nation, says Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina pays homage to Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman on 6th day at Dhanmondi 32. Six-point movement was turning point in independence struggle of nation, says Obaidul Qadir. Eid al-Azha to be celebrated on 17th of June across the country, informs National Noon Sighting Committee. Proposed budget for upcoming fiscal year prepared to control inflation, says Finance Minister Abul Hasan Mahmood Ali. Leaders of BNP, which formed to enjoy only facilities of ruling party, cannot tolerate development and progresses of the country, says Foreign Minister. Proposed budget time-worthy and per-people in context of global economic perspective, opine economist. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina leaves Dhaka for New Delhi tomorrow to attend oath-taking ceremony of Narendra Modi as Indian Prime Minister. And Bangladesh will kick off their maiden match of T20 World Cup against Sri Lanka early morning tomorrow. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us, and we invite you to watch our 11:30 p.m. Bangla News. Until then, Koda.